So after a long day of exploring, I sat back at camp enjoying tea, loads of stuff to share. Let's relax and recap this.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Day this week we're at Pejeta Conservancy in the north of Kenya. Well, not very north, more north of Nairobi. And we have a couple of things that we're going to get up to. Starting off the day strong, we came across a herd of elephants cooling down and grabbing a drink at a watering hole. If you look closely, you can see the little baby elephant who still doesn't know how to use his trunk, kind of just flaying it about. So that was kind of cool. I feel like going into a conservancy and the first thing you get to see and tick off your list is elephants is definitely a sign of a good time ahead. But moving on, the main reason why we were halfway through the park was because we were on our way to see the last two northern white rhinos in the world. I mean, last two in the world. We have a little clip here where our guide goes into a few details about the rhinos, their conservation efforts, and where these two rhinos came from. So have a listen.
And the central part of Africa, a place like Sudan, Chad, DRC Congo, Central Africa, and the western side of Uganda. And those countries, we have a lot of civil war or people fighting one another. And when northern white were mostly there, they really double number, and from there they stopped breeding because of the changes of the weather. After northern white enjoyed the good weather and the good grass of this place, on 2012, Sunin started mating fertility. And when Sunin died in 2014, because of natural causes, we came to realize later after the scientific because 53 rhinos, part of the banditrust, longer tail, more wrinkles, and also northern white. You have the big gap in between the two horns. It looked like a U shape, but the southern white it looked like a V shape. Called Jacob, me Jeremy and Jacob, and we will drive together. We are caregivers of the two northern white. We work together, so we don't come right with him, and you actually will see them delicious for them.
Nice. What I loved about this experience in comparison to the other experiences you get in some of these places was how close you got to get to the animals. Even though you're still in your safari vehicle, the rhinos were fed right in front of you and actually walk all the way up to the vehicles, and in some situations they pretty much put their face right up to their window and you can get to touch them and feel what rhino hide and rhino horn actually feels like. This is definitely a 10 out of 10 experience. For anyone who's in Kenya, I would say Pejeta is definitely one of those must-visit conservancies out. After you hang out with the 2 last northern rhinos, you actually get another bit of an experience, and that's in the form of feeding a black rhino. Now, black rhinos are usually aggressive, but you see, this rhino not only has been in captivity, but is actually blind, so he can't see anything. He has to be led right up to you by a guide, and they give you a little intro on how to feed him and where to hold, where to put the food. And even though the rhino itself seems like a very docile creature, you can't help but feel that little bit of fear as you stick your hand out and feed it these little pieces of greenery. After you feed the black rhino, you get brought into this room where you have all of these items, or should I say all of these animal pieces and bones and hides and skulls and teeth that you can get to touch and feel the actual weight of. What really got me is how heavy some of these bones are, and not the usual suspects, so to say. I picked up a few warthog tusks and teeth, and it was extremely heavy. I was thinking about 2 kgs per tusk. These animals are absolutely amazing and really strong to be carrying around that much weight like it's nothing. After a little lesson in conservancy, and I can sort of see what they're doing here by allowing you to feel certain pelts and feel all these items that are honestly illegal to own out there. So it's good for you to have that moment where you can actually feel them and realize that there's nothing really that special about them, so you're not going to go out there and try and buy them. So it's a good experience. On our way back to the camp, we actually we saw a herd of Cape buffaloes. And when I'm telling you that we're taking off the big 5 and we've literally been in the park for a couple of hours, it's amazing. We've seen elephants, we've seen the Cape buffaloes, and then we actually got to see a white rhino, a southern one, in the wild. As we're making our way through the park, you definitely get that feeling of it's gonna be one of those jam-packed safari adventures. Although the park itself is massive, and you do sometimes have to drive pretty far to see animals far in between, when you do come across them, they tend to be in these big groups, which is just generally a very interesting thing to see. One thing that you'll probably realize about Old Pejeta, it is kind of on the leeward side of Mount Kenya, on the foothills, so you do get amazing sunrises where you get to see the mountain. And if you have a decent camera, you can actually zoom in on Mount Kenya and see a little bit of snow in the crevices of the mountain. We were staying at Sweetwaters, which is a camp run by Serena, although you could tell that the tents are getting a bit dated and they probably do need to up it a bit and just give it that little bit of zest. You can see why it is still a popular destination. I mean, we had impalas right outside our tents, and there is a watering hole as well where you can see all the wild animals come in, get some water, and then weirdly run off. I had no idea that wild animals, after they drink their water, just speedily like sprint off into the distance. It is so weird to see, but really cool. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, we'll be coming back at you next week with more wildlife stuff.